G'day guys, welcome to Collect the Craving. We have got in front of us the Star Wars Legion terrain that I built. So this video is going to be like a time lapse of me building it. But before we get into that, I just want to explain to you what pieces what items I used. So first of all, the base is made from foam board, which is this sort of stuff. And then all I've done is trim the edges on an angle with a knife, and I've peeled the cardboard off the top. This cardboard paper stuff you can see, just like this here. I've just peeled it off. You probably don't even have to peel it off. You could probably just leave it on there. I just had a piece of this board that half of it was already come off anyway, so I just pulled it off. Alright, so that's what the board's made of. As you'll see in the video coming up, how I've done that. The paint I used is just some simple craft paint I got from a Bunnings store, which is just a hardware store. I've got the burnt sienna and the medium yellow. Alright, so that's just some basic craft paint. That's all it's used for. Don't really need any specific paint or anything. Okay, so and then we have obviously PVA craft glue to glue the foam board down, to seal it and whatnot. And then we use some of this Vallejo ground texture, which you'll see what we used all this stuff for when I explain the time lapse video. And then obviously we had an airbrush and we used some of these washes. So this is the Army Painter one, which I used most of it for. So this is the lighter ones here, and then some of the darker stuff that you can see is the game wash from, I think that's Vallejo. Focus. There you go. Game wash and the light tone from Army Painter. Alright guys, so that's basically all the ingredients that I used. Okay? And so let's get started and have a look at the time lapse. Alright guys, so you can see here I've got this piece of foam board. I've peeled the cardboard backing, as you can see on the other side here. Black cardboard paper sort of stuff. I've peeled that off, and it just leaves this foam bit. Looks a bit average, but we're going to paint over it and whatnot, so that's all good. So you can see I've marked out here, you can see the black marker. Marked out where all the pieces are going to go. So that will go there. This will go here like this. This will go here. And that will go there like that. Now that's so we know exactly where they're going to go. So when comes time to put this piece in, we know it's going to sit like that. So it's going to sit in there nice and flat like that. And there you will have a bit of a playing area here and here. This will fold down. Boom. Like that. Happy days. Okay. So that's going to be the main setup, how it's going to be. It's going to be all painted and flocked and everything like that. Alright guys, so let's get on to the next bit where we're going to prime it all up, paint it up, everything else. So as you can see here guys, I'm just putting down the PVA glue, sticking that down to the board so that it just stays where we need it to be. I let that dry for probably 2 hours, I think. Maybe even overnight, I don't remember. I did this over the course of 3 days, but PVA glue doesn't take very long to dry. So you can work with it after probably half an hour. Once it sort of stops moving, and stays where you need it to be, you're pretty much right to go. So I've got the Vallejo ground texture, which I'm just filling in those gaps. So the gaps there are just the gaps between the pieces of foam board I started off using a plastic spoon, but it was just, in the end, it was just easier just to use my hand and just rub it around and spread it all about and whatnot. So I've also I'm also going to go around the edges of the foam board there, which will sort of make the transition between the foam board and the foam board underneath it a bit smoother and give it that dirty, sort of gritty, muddy texture. As you can see, just going all around the edges. Didn't bother on the inside because that's where the vehicle is going to be sitting, and you won't be able to see it. So what I'm doing here is I'm just sealing the whole thing with more PVA glue. That's because you can probably see there's a bit of grey primer and stuff on it. The paint sort of just kept seeping into the foam board, so I'm sealing it with PVA glue, so when we go to paint it, that it actually just sits on top of the surface that we want it to sit on, rather than just sinking into the foam board. So we're just sealing it all with PVA glue and then just let it all dry. Once again, I think I left this overnight to dry. As you can see, I've got a different t-shirt on there. I'm just painting it all with the brown, which is that burnt sienna or whatever colour it was. That is all just going down, and you can actually see that it dries and it's pretty dark. So I actually had to do quite a few layers of that, and then sort of had to just work it into all the different spots that it had to be on top there, and several coats. Just kept working it until I built the colour up. So what I've done here, I've just mixed the brown and the yellow together to make a lighter brown, and then I'm just going over and just slopping it on there, building the colour up. As you can see, that brown sienna has dried pretty dark, and you almost can't even see it in some spots. So as you can see, I've just gone over the whole thing with the lighter brown, and then I've added a little bit more yellow, and I'm just slopping it on there. It doesn't have to be neat. It just has to just colour it. Now, I've actually done all this, and you probably could have just used the board like that if you wanted it to be a muddy sort of patch. But what I decided to do is put this sand flock stuff on, which is, I don't remember the brand, it didn't even say on the packet, which I forgot to mention that at the start, but I've just got this sand stuff and putting it on there. The way it's taken with the PVA glue, I probably didn't even need to paint the board, but last time I used this stuff, it didn't go down as thick, and then when I tapped it to get off any excess, quite a bit of it came off. But this time around, it's actually gone on a lot better. So in saying that, I probably could have just not painted the board and just flocked it straight over the foam, but I chose to paint it, and I thought, as you can see, I've put it on thinner there because I was running out. So in that case there, having the brown underneath paid off, but it probably wasn't necessary. At this stage, I'm spraying it with the airbrush because I took it outside and I sprayed it with some aerosol glue, which is like a clear, drying, colourless aerosol glue, and it made it go white. You can see that frostiness on it. So I've gone over with the wash just to darken some spots up because it looked almost like it had a bit of snow or ice or something on it. It looked very different. So I'm just going around and darkening up some bits with some brown wash and whatnot, so it doesn't look so unusual. But all in all, I think it came out alright. It's dried nice and solid. I haven't had a lot of stuff fall off or anything, so that flock, the sand flock stuff, stayed on there very well. So what I'm doing here now is we're up to the part where we have the Juggernaut, and I've got that same wash that I was using, which was the army painter, and I'm just spraying it on. It doesn't have to be in any specific pattern or all even. I'm just spraying it on however, because the object of this is to make it look like it's rusted, and as we all know, rust doesn't, or steel doesn't rust uniformly. It just rusts in various patterns and various spots. So spraying it on there and just getting it on to make it look nice and rusted. That's all we have to do. And then I switched to the other colour, as you can see there. I switched to the dark colour, got more on there on top, and then that was basically it. That's basically the build. So I did it over the course of 3 days, 4 days, and I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out. So we've got the various rust spots there, you can see. I didn't bother using a brush to put it on because I thought that would leave some brush marks and I didn't really want that. So I've just stayed with the airbrush. You could use a standard paintbrush if you wanted. I think that would probably be fine. But yeah, so that's it. That's the Juggernaut. This was a kid's toy that I've just taken apart, taken the bottom off, and gone with it. And made it into a Star Wars Legion terrain piece. It's the perfect size. I didn't actually have any Star Wars Legion pieces on me. They were all somewhere else. So I couldn't put some in there for scaling, but it is almost perfectly scaled for 28 inch or 28 centimeter miniatures. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed that, and if you want to have a crack at building one yourself, it's not really hard. You just got to use your imagination. All this stuff I already had and didn't have to buy anything, so that was great. Alright, so thanks for watching guys, and we'll see you next time.